Good morning. Good morning, everyone. It's a bit challenging to talk, after Dr. Nungu, after Diana, after Albert. It becomes challenging since what really I want to talk about, or just to tickle your minds about, really reflects on employability, really reflects on digital skills, reflects on research, and obviously data. So, being the last speaker up here, it becomes a bit challenging. But becomes a bit, I would say, challenging with an advantage. I'll make it very short, extremely short. When we talk about data literacy, everyone thinks about data science. It happens. In here, we are all data literate, all of us. The only thing which you need to be data literate, you need to know how to read. It's all about reading. And then comes writing. You are data literate. So I'll take it as everyone in this room is data literate. But comes now, the second part of being data literate, and that is working with data. How can you work with data? The kind of techs and young people which were mentioned here, the ones which we want to impact the digital skills, they need to work with data. They really need to work with data and make data valuable in terms of analyzing what data is all about, bringing value into data. Now, how do you do that? How do you bring the insights into data and making sure that something meaningful is coming out of that? That's the interesting part. And that's what all of us need to think about. In a country like Tanzania with millions and millions of people, thousands of villages, thousands of wards, a good number of districts, more than 184 districts, 31 regions, Tanzania mainland and island. We still have, to think about there are some kids in school who can't read, not only write. And then we're thinking about unleashing the potential by impacting these kids with digital skills. So think about that. And then from working with data, we're coming up with analyzing data. How can you analyze data? Bringing the insights by analyzing data. It becomes a bit technical. It becomes a bit of, you need to be a digitech, you need to be really thinking about now the levels of data science. Now, that's something, which can bring sort of like confusion, and I don't want to bring confusion here. The last part is about arguing with data. How often do we argue with data? How often do you think about the realities of making sure that in whatever programs we're doing, in whatever plannings and decisions we're doing, we are arguing by using data? You don't need to be a data analyst or a data engineer, as what I said earlier, a data scientist, to argue with data. So how do we argue with data in mind? It's something which I'm leaving it to you as well, to think about, and to make sure that, that pyramid which starts with data at the very lower end, then moves forward with information. Data becomes information somewhere. And once it's information, everyone knows about what to talk about, because everyone has information, but not really that everyone has data. I'm pausing a bit and thinking about that. Everyone has information, but not everyone has data. And then comes, on top of now having data, which is sort of like for a few, moving to information and making that information to make an impact in terms of knowledge. Information turning it to knowledge. Everyone has knowledge. Everyone has information, but not everyone has data. while data is the foundation, data makes information, data creates knowledge, and eventually you need to have a data-driven decision-making. That means you need to make decisions at the top of the pyramid by using data. But still, not everyone has data. I'm pausing again and throwing this to all of you in the audience here. Data is the foundation. Data creates information. Data creates knowledge. And obviously, you really need to make decisions, credible decisions, by using data. But not everyone has data. Why? Why data has become confidential? It has become something which everyone, when you want to, you're knocking certain doors, asking to make a difference by using data, the doors are not opening. I've come across a lot of good people telling us that we have a lot of data. You know, we want to make use of this data. And we say, hang on, that's good. Let's work together. And then you find a lot of roadblocks, bottlenecks, pushbacks. Why? Where's the data? The data to make decisions, the data which will be information, the data which will be knowledgeable. So, as what I said earlier, I just want to tickle your minds. And it's good that I heard from Mr. Kimani here, that Albert Kimani from Kenya, that, you know, the thinking of creating a lot of, you know, sort of like data scientists, you know, in the Kenyan side and then East Africa, and 50,000 in Tanzania. That's a big plus. We are working with the College of ICT, University of Dar es Salaam, training data scientists. In fact, the first Masters of Data Science in Tanzania, the curriculum and the training is done at the D-Lab. And what we are doing really is like we are creating the current and future sort of like workforce. But what we came to realize is that most of the master's students, in fact, the undergraduate and master's students are opting for data science currently because it's sort of like a new road to go with. But they don't have very strong backgrounds related to whether it's digital knowledge, whether it's coding, and those are things which they come to find when they join universities. So we kind of like currently have established, you know, a very basic robotics program for young primary and secondary school kids, just to give them, you know, sort of like that gist of exactly what should they expect as they grow up. Because most of the time we think like when these young kids are naughty and playing with our phones, that means they are techie. They are not. You need to impact that knowledge, the real technical knowledge to them. But again, you need to open up data sets to make sure that these data sets are used even at a very younger age, to make sure that they're getting to that point of making decisions by using data. So as what I said, I'll make it short. I just want to leave this as a question to all of you. You know, distinguished ladies and gentlemen in this room, that why is it still challenging to work with data in our settings, to use data for knowledge, to use data for making the best decisions which we want to make in this country. And I think I should leave it with all of you that 2 years ago, we joined forces with the Local Government Training Institute in Dodoma to create the first of its kind Data for Leadership curriculum for all ward councillors in Tanzania. Madiwani. We want all the diwanis, all the ward councillors, to make their decisions by using data. they're sitting in, a lot of data in the wards and villages. And then they are political leaders because they are elected every after 5 years. And you will find a lot of solutions are coming, outside those wards while they are sitting with data. They need to be able to use the current data, which they have in the wards and the villages, and not asking for data somewhere else, because decisions are made in the villages and wards, and not in Dar es Salaam, in the ministries or in Dodoma. So where is the data? Thank you.